and around and around, upside down and around and around, upside down and around and around, until we reach the outskirts of town, where we find time and time again that the great outdoors is a barbed wire fence.
So here we are in Fort Bill in Port Macquarie, and staying here with us is
Angela.
now Angela. Let's go back. Best way is before you'd even heard of COVID. In a previous life, what were you doing?
Oh, before COVID, I was working in aged care.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll go back a little bit further than that. In 2012, life threw me a curveball. My husband died rather unexpectedly, and as a result of that, I lost my home and my job. I had 2 legal actions over his death. It was a medical malfeasance case. He was put on a medication. One of the side effects is suicidal ideation. And 2 days after he took after he was prescribed the medication, he took his life. So life was thrown. My life was turned upside down. So
Did you sense that this was coming?
no, there was no. Actually, in fact, the day before he died, I actually said I said to my manager, the one thing he won't do is he will not commit suicide. Famous last words. The next day, he was dead. Subsequently, found out that the medication we was on, one of the side effects was suicidal ideation. So that led me down a certain path. So for 5 years, I was fighting legal actions, which then went a little pear-shaped. I call it friendly fire. My own barrister decided that he didn't want to take the case any further.
Oh.
So that then sent me down a little bit. That was the first time I'd probably grieved properly, because I had this plan that I was going to receive a certain amount settlement and I'd buy myself a little tiny house and I'd be okay. But then that didn't happen. So I fell in a heap, ran away from society, didn't want to be involved. And
Were you angry with him?
no, I was very angry with he actually thought he was doing the right thing. He thought he was doing a good thing. I was angry with this system, the fact that this medication is given out and nobody's given any warnings. Well, certainly not in Australia. In America, they have what they call a black box warning for this medication.
Is it an antidepressant thing?
It was, but he wasn't depressed. He was anxious. He started having panic attacks. It was something to do with his work situation, and it was a period of 11 days, and it just escalated. So in I think it was about mid 2017, my legal action went awry, and then I spent the next 2 years licking my wounds.
And so you'd lost a lot of money with that barrister by then?
Yes, yeah. It was, if I'd paid the lawyer, if I bought the lawyer coffee for the previous 5 years, I would have been in the same financial. Every day for the last preceding 5 years, I would have been in the same financial position. But so then I ran away just to lick my wounds and try and regroup.
Yeah. And
I was just getting back into life and society when COVID hit. So I'd signed a lease and I signed up with an agency to do living care for the elderly. And then COVID hit and something wasn't right. I was thinking and because I was very sceptical about the Western medical model, I was like, this isn't sitting comfortably with me at all.
You had the two to deal with. You were still grieving when the war turned up.
Definitely, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was, and just watching how people capitulated and didn't question anything, and just the idea of isolating people, healthy people, just didn't sit comfortably with me. And working with the elderly, most of them were not worried about getting sick or anything like that. They, it just didn't. I was thinking, I used to joke and say, the biggest conspiracy was, when did the government start caring about our health? It's like, what about obesity and heart disease? The list goes on, diabetes.
Yeah.
I was
Why
like,
haven't they banned sugar?
Yeah,
They ban
exactly.
ivermectin, but they don't ban sugar.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it just made me question lots and lots of things. So
But you were dealing with this alone. Did you have a group you could talk to, or?
not really, no. Most of my friends and family were believers in the COVID narrative, in the germ theory, all
Yeah.
that. So I did feel very, very isolated.
How long did that period last?
That it lasted quite a while. I, I just felt really isolated in Australia. So me being me, the personality I am, I don't like being told what I can and
Yeah.
can't do. And when they said you can't leave Australia, I was like, oh, we'll see about that. So I just felt there was a really heavy energy in Australia, and middle of the night, 2 o'clock in the morning, there was lots of heavy machinery, helicopters and things like this. I thought there's something untoward going on here. So I actually sought an exemption and left Australia in October 2021 with the intention of not coming back.
Wow. How was it getting out of Australia then, unvaccinated?
It was really funny. Yeah, the airport was hilarious. There was no one there. I had my paperwork and they got through it. And then I went through customs and I thought, oh, I'll just go into duty free. And they wouldn't let me in because I didn't have a vax passport. I was like, there's no one here. Actually, none of the, there was very few of the.
So they're hardly making any money. They finally get a customer, they won't let you in.
Exactly, yeah. So it was funny because I flew.
Okay, 2 6. Okay, introduce us to your bus.
Oh, this is Parker. She's named after Rosa Parks, the lady who refused to stand up on the bus during segregation. So it was a name I inherited, so I just kept it. So
Right, well, take us for a journey
yeah,
in.
she was originally mainly all white,
Oh, okay.
and Chris painted her blue for the protection from the direct energy weapons. So if there's any fires, she's not going to burn. Yeah, some people think I'm a bit crazy on that one, but
Well,
and
we'll find out when the fire turns.
yeah, funnily enough, it's actually called police blue, so I'm hoping that it will it will cover me from the road pirates.
Okay, we were up to duty free, and then you're not allowed in. So you're at the airport by yourself. They won't let you in. What do you do?
I just thought it was hilarious. I laughed. I mean, I did have a bit of a like, oh, don't be ridiculous. There's no one here. But they weren't budging. So I was like,
Was the airplane full or was the airplane empty?
no, the airplane was empty. I was actually in business class, so I think there was me and about two other people, and we had an air hostess each. So, and they didn't. I mean, I did wear I think it was probably the only time I wore a mask.
Yeah.
So I wore the mask because I thought, you've got to pick your battles.
Yeah, I agree.
So when I was sitting on the plane, I just took it off, and then the stewardess, who was, my designated stewardess, just took hers off, and yeah, they could not have been nicer. They were fabulous. They were really, really good. And then I went to England because obviously with my accent you can tell that's where I'm from originally, and spent time with family, and it was just a lot more relaxed there. They were.
What about getting to the English airport where they were like, "Oh my God, we've got an unvaccinated Aussie here"?
No, nothing.
They
Didn't care at all. Wow. There was no.
So it was Australia that was going mental.
It was Australia. Yeah, I went via America. I went to stay with a friend and spent some time there. They had no problems. I had no problems in America.
Really?
No problems in England. Drove through Europe. yeah, there was just no. I had to get. I was driving. I got the ferry over from Dover to Calais,
Yeah.
and I had to. I mean, they said I had to get a what's it called? One of those tests. I can't remember what they're called.
A rat
PCR
test.
test. Yeah.
PCR test. Yeah.
PCR test. And the guy at the border patrol didn't even look at it. I think that was that, and getting the plane leaving Australia had to get. That was pretty much the only times I did the test. But yeah, he didn't even check it. We just like threw the piece of paper away. It was funny. But yeah, no, it was just a lot more free, and you know, people were there seemed to be a lot more pushback, in particularly in England. In Europe, they didn't really care. There was nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so certain places surprised me. New York, everyone was really compliant. So yeah, certain restaurants, cafes wouldn't let me in without proof of vaccination. So
Wow.
yeah, I was just
Strange how it happened, isn't it? Some places, New York and Israel and Melbourne. And so why did you end up coming back to Australia?
just circumstances. Yeah, it just wasn't working. Things weren't flowing for me.
Yeah.
I was trying to find a place to settle. Initially, I thought, oh, I'll go to Malta. Never been to Malta in my life, but you know. Anyway, still haven't been to Malta, but I ended up going to New Zealand and then coming back here. I didn't really want to be back. I was really cranky about being back in Australia, but it's actually, I mean, I've been back nearly 2.5 years now, and it was probably the best thing, because I've met so many more people who are like-minded and like-hearted.
The tribe.
The tribe. I've met my tribe, and it took me going away, leaving Australia and coming back to find them, and just, you know, all these people were here while I was there, when I was here during, you know, 2020 and 2021, but I didn't find them. I didn't find them until I came back.
I think it was the marches where we found each other initially, and stand in the park and things like that. That's where I found that tribe.
Well, at the time, at the beginning of 2020, I was the living carer for a 100-year-old lady, and I didn't attend any of the marches because I didn't want to put her in any, you know, jeopardize her. And obviously she needed me there in the evening. So, you know, the timing wasn't great. Yeah. So I had to I put her needs ahead of my own at the time, because she was, you know, coming towards the end of her life. So.
Yeah. So what did you do then? So first off, what was it like getting back in Australia unvaccinated?
By that stage, it didn't matter.
Oh, they really?
It didn't matter. No, it was, you know, it was just things. Everything was open. It didn't matter. I got back on Anzac Day. What day? 2023. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, most people were more bothered about 2-up and going to the RSL. So yeah, it was.
And now you're a part of what I call an exodus. I live in a bus. There's lots of people doing it. They, from my perspective and people I've met, they don't want what society's offering them anymore, and so they're sort of searching for something else. And here we are in your bus. Is that why you're in a bus, or?
There's a couple of reasons why I'm in my bus. I mean, partly because I don't want to go back into that, how society is. I've learned a lot more about how the world operates and how we're securitized and all those sorts of things. And I don't want to be part of that. I want to be part of the new world our way, not the new world their way. So, you know, creating that society where we cooperate, we support one another, where, you know, we do live as a community, and share our resources, and it's not every man for himself.
Yeah. Not dog eat dog.
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, just being a woman in my 60s and losing my home and living off I haven't claimed any benefits at all. I've over the last, I mean, my husband died 13 years ago, but so I've done it from, you know, savings, superannuation, his superannuation, and just working every now and again here and there. So, and just the housing market was getting beyond me. And funnily enough, I was actually saving up. Just before I left in 2021, I'd actually signing mortgage papers to take out a loan to buy a house in Queensland, and then they closed the borders, and it just wasn't meant to be. So when I came back, it's like, well, what do? You know, I haven't got enough money to buy a property. I haven't got, you know, so I lived out of my car for quite a while, doing house sitting, driving up and down the coast.
Wow.
A little Mazda 2. So I had the opportunity to buy this bus a year ago, and yeah, I just love it. I just really love the freedom it gives me, and you know, I feel it's so luxurious compared to my car. It's amazing how
Sleeping in your car is tough.
yeah, it's interesting, people's responses and their reactions.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, you can't do that. Well, I seem to be coping okay. So
Well, that's the thing. It's like a lot of people are staying in society. They don't want to be there because they feel they can't survive outside. But I'm finding lots of great stuff out here. What are you finding?
I'm finding the same. You know, there's a real camaraderie. You know, you see
Yeah.
other people, and like wearing the shirts, the 832 or the Living Free, or what, you know, t-shirts. People will say, oh, you know, they recognise a kindred spirit, and I get a lot of people saying, oh, I wish I could do that, and I do think, oh, well, you can. You choose not to.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's true.
it's funny because somebody said to me recently it was a choice for me to live the way I live now. Initially, it wasn't a choice. It was a choice foisted on me. And I actually don't have any regrets about it. You know, I could have probably made better decisions, but, you know, I'm enjoying the freedom it gives me.
So you don't regret that you didn't take it and you're back in working in the aged care?
Absolutely not, no. Now, I did try to go back into aged care, but I just, the whole system about, what's the germ theory, the contagion and all those sorts of things, but they're still pushing the narrative of having jabs. And there's not just COVID, shingles, flu, all sorts of things. But
Whooping cough.
Whooping cough, yeah. And the other thing that they've done is that everybody has to have an app on their phone and they track you.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't want to do that. I'd actually quite happily go back to an old flip phone.
Yeah,
if I
me
could.
too. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't want
No, finish what you're saying.
yeah, the least they know about me, the better.
Yeah, I say that every time I go in a store, they go, do you want to be on our award program? I go, no.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, if I'm on there, I'd like to be removed.
Yeah.
I don't want you to know anything about me. I just want to buy this product.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But here we are. The world back in the Matrix almost is like, oh, I'm working towards this holiday, or I'm working, you know, and there's bills and all this mediocrity, really. Mm-hmm. How do you see the future now as you're in this bus?
oh, I see it really positive. I think there's a growing band of people whose eyes are opening. They're realizing
Yeah.
what life is, and maybe it's because I'm getting older, but I'm more focused on what happens after I've departed this meat suit. So creating a better world for people, for everybody, is what I'm focused on. And you know, we can all look at that, say, oh look what they're spraying in the skies, or they're trying to force vaccines, or doing this, that, and the other. What am I doing? So I'm focusing on how can I create a better world. So I think it's really positive. I think, you know, just being guided by spirit, God, Most High, whatever you want to call that energy. Yeah, just go. Just use me as a conduit, and I'll go, and you show me where I go, and I'll get in the driver's seat and I'm off.
So you're not feeling frightened? Because a lot of the fear in society is what keep people in prison. You're not feeling that fear?
No. If anything, I probably feel more liberated than any time in my whole life. I think, yeah. No, I mean, sometimes I'm a single woman. I'm not very big, so I'm not very strong. So yeah, come through. Excuse the mess. Oh, actually, I'll start with the door that Bill built the frame. It was an ordinary plug door, but now it's a caravan door. So Bill manufactured a new opening for me.
Wow.
Which is amazing. And I keep saying this is my favourite bit, but there's all sorts of little different favourite bits. I love my little table,
Yep.
which swings around. and I need to get some new bench cushions, but there's my bench seat, which will double as a single bed if I ever have any visitors. But if something
That's only physical.
Yeah.
You're pretty tough spiritually.
probably spiritually, yeah, but physically I'm not that strong. But
Yeah.
I figure if something doesn't feel right, I don't feel comfortable, I'll move on.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take any stupid
So
risk.
you're reacting, touch my heart now. You're reacting more to your inner voice now than listening to your logical head.
Exactly, yeah. I sort of, don't take any notice of what's going on in here. It's like, just listen to how the heart, the spirit,
Yeah.
the embodiment of.
And are you looking for a fella?
Not particularly, no.
No, just if one happens along.
If somebody's crazy enough to take me on board, you'd have to be a special kind of special.
Yeah, but not in the way that you're like, I'm desperately needing someone to fill in. This is just if you want to be a companion, it'd be great, but
No, I'm fine. Actually, the benchmark. It's funny. My husband was very, very proper, and we were together.
Really?
Yeah. He was the total opposite of me. We'd been.
So he probably would have taken it.
He would have been. One of his sisters asked me how he would have reacted, and I said, "Oh, he would have been out in a full hazmat suit." And they said, "Well, how would he have coped with you?" And I said, "Well, he would have probably asked me if it was wise, but he would never have stopped me doing anything I wanted to." So, he set the benchmark quite high. So he's going to be a pretty special guy. Yeah.
What was his name?
Vin.
Can you tell us something more about him, like anything funny? Because often happens with suicide is people vanish. They die once, and then no one ever talks about them. And if they talk about him, it's connected with suicide, and that's it. But the person who it was forgets. So I know you said he was proper, but was he funny?
He was funny. He had, I don't know whether you have heard of a children's show from, I think it was about the 70s, called Wurzel Gummidge.
Yeah, of course.
Wurzel Gummidge was a scarecrow, and he had his work head and his funny head. My husband was like that, so if he was in work mode, he was in work mode. You could not joke with him. You couldn't mess about.
What was his work?
He was an insurance assessor.
Okay.
But he did train crashes and oil spills and all sorts of things. So high-end stuff. But when he had his funny head on, he was really funny. So I was telling Bill this. Bill thinks it's hilarious, but he was such a gentleman, and he never swore. And in fact, in 22 years, I heard him swear once.
Oh my God!
And we were in Saudi Arabia, and he was trying to find me an internet cafe, and they wouldn't let me in because I was a woman. And he came out and he said, "This effing place," and I said, "Oh, Vincent," and he goes, "Well, I'm very cross." And it was just, and that just always makes me laugh. That just sums him up. He was just, he was, but I think because he was very quiet and, quite, as I say, he was quite proper. People misunderstood that for softness. He was very gentle, but he had a rog. It's like he was, he played and was very masculine, the provider and the protector.
Yeah.
And that's this is always what makes me cry. He said that his proudest achievement in his life was his marriage to me.
Oh.
And that his role was to protect me.
Oh.
And I always joke saying, I think he was protecting me from me. So, yeah.
That must have been very tough.
It was, I always say that I was in, they talk about the stages of grief.
Yeah.
And the denial for me was not the denial that he died, but the denial of the impact it had on me.
Yeah.
So I was like the Black Knight in the Monty Pythons. It's just a flesh wound, but it wasn't. It was much more than a flesh wound. It was tough. And
that was the sort of dealing with the legal probably focused on that. And once that ended, then the grief turned up at your door.
Definitely. Yeah. Initially I couldn't face it because it was too overwhelming.
Yeah.
And in my family, I've got 4 brothers. Vulnerability is our shadow. We don't deal with vulnerability. So, I couldn't cry, couldn't show any weakness. So it was tough.
Yeah. And the other interesting thing that makes it tough, it's not like he's separated and you can still contact him or even bollock him for leaving.
Yeah.
He's gone.
He's gone, yeah. Although, I mean, I still feel him. I'll tell you a story about when during COVID, I was watching one of the live streams. I think it might have been the Real Rukshan for the Melbourne marches, and I was watching that, and they pepper sprayed a 10-year-old boy,
Yeah, I remember.
and then they shot the rubber bullets, and Matt Lawson got hit in the kidneys.
I was there.
Yeah, it was honestly, I was so disgusted and I was so
Yeah.
upset. So I was spoiling for a fight, and I grabbed my car keys off the table, off the dining table, and I grabbed the tape because I was living in an apartment at the time. And I grabbed the keys, and I was going out spoiling for a fight. I wanted to meet some coppers, and I was going to give it to them. I was going to blast them, and I felt this hand on my shoulder, and I go, Ange, keep your powder dry. And it was my husband.
Oh.
That was one of his expressions. He was like, don't waste your ammunition. And for a week, whenever I sat down to eat at the dining table, I could see him on the lounge looking at me.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, okay, I'll behave myself.
What's he think now you're in this bus?
I think he's all right. I think
Yeah.
he's still watching over me. I think he's probably rolling his eyes and going, oh my God, what's she up to now?
What do you see for the future of us all going forward? I can see us separating because we're like a different group now. I've never known a group like us or tribe like us, but there's only a few of us compared to the greater herd. What do you see going? What are your feelings or thoughts going forward?
I don't know. My thoughts are that I think we're actually in biblical times. I never really was very much. I was brought up Roman Catholic, and I left the church when I was 15. But I'm actually coming back. I won't say back to the church because I think the churches and religion are compromised organisations. But I think the Bible, from what I'm learning, is a contract, and I think all our answers are in there. And I mean, I heard recently, I think it's come the apocalypse. I always get the word wrong. The apocalypse, and I think apocalypse just means revelation. It doesn't mean like Armageddon or death, and so it's like one of those words again, like anarchy, that's misrepresented, and people misunderstand it. So I think we're coming towards the end of this time, and there's going to be a new beginning. So I think there's going to be a new earth, and I think it's going to be really biblical. I mean, I honestly don't know, but I think it's quite exciting times to be alive, and I think it's for me. I'm hoping I'm on the right side, but I think we're going to be on the right side. We've chosen the path of following the Spirit and not following the money, not following the safety and security. Not that there's any safety and security.
The path of faith, basically.
The path of faith.
And it's like you said, it's not a faith in any established religion. It's a faith with this calling we have that's calls us to go places, called us to epic, and still calls us.
Yes, yeah, I think definitely it's it's just it's like any muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Yeah.
And that faith is, I know it frustrates people. Certainly a lot of my friends are really uncomfortable in uncertainty. And, so when the bus is finished, where are you going? I don't know. I don't know.
People ask me where you're going next. How often do you plan? I go, about a day.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I didn't actually plan to buy the bus. I saw it and bought it, and then
Look at me.
Yeah.
Same.
So it's trusting that when things come along, it's like, right, that's right. That's what I need to do. And it's just exciting times.
Put us there.
My very messy kitchen.
Your little burners here.
Yes, I've got my gas burner, got my fridge, my sink is under here.
Oh wow, so clever.
So, oops, just doing a detox. So, and then I've got this other amazing bench, which has got lots of storage, and my beautiful little heart, my resin heart from Karen, Bill's wife. And then here's my my bathroom and my shower.
It's hard to see.
Which is
Still
a work in progress. And then my own bed. My first own bed for 2.5 years.
Wow. Wow.
And then I've got my wardrobe, which also needs to be finished, and a storage area at the back.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and I've also got... my pull-out kitchen
Oh, yeah, that's right.
at the back.
Oh, wow.
And I've got my Barbie!
That's fantastic. Hidden away, you wouldn't even know it's there.
I know.
That's fantastic.
So,
So we're staying here at Fort Bill. Now, Bill is an incredible man, and he's got all these Orphans of Goodbye Road here, of which we are too. And how's it feel being here? It's more than just a farm to me, but what's it like for you? You've been here a while now.
yeah, I've been here nearly 5 months, and
Wow.
I think I was divinely guided to attend the muster in March and meet Bill. And Bill, I mean, I had another guy working on my bus, and we had a bit of a falling out, and Bill offered to help. And yeah, it's just been great. The guys are amazing. It feels to me like how we should be living in Earth, that everybody looks out for one another. There's a real camaraderie, real community spirit. There's banter, and there's people take the mickey out of each other, but generally there's an underlying love and care and respect.
Yeah. There's a
everybody.
kindness running through this place.
There's definitely a kindness. It's just, I've never seen Bill get upset about anything. He's just, this might sound grandiose, but he's almost like an embodiment of Jesus, the way Jesus is. He's so non-judgmental and so giving and caring, and will go out of his way to help people and support people who are part of our community. He's just, I cannot speak highly enough of him. All right. Yeah,
You've got your license.
I've got my license,
Oh,
yes.
So you've got your license. Congratulations. How was that to get?
It was so much fun. It was such a good day. I really enjoyed it. In fact, I could reverse the truck better than I can reverse a little Mazda 2.
All right, that's great. Okay, and if there's any advice you'd offer for anyone out there who just doesn't like staying where they are and wants to break free, since you're breaking free, is there any advice you'd offer?
Well, to quote Nike, just do it.
Chang bought a van and decked it out, showed us all had all he needed, could park it anywhere, free as a bird. But when he flew, he found out fast that the great outdoors is a barbed wire fence. I'm not staying here when the shit goes south, and the shit seems to be already here. I've a backpack with all my needs. Trouble is, when I dream, all I find is that the great outdoors is a barbed wire fence. I'm sure my grandfather left freedom here, unless my eyes were open when I was born. But this world has left me blind. Is that right, Mother? Am I blind? I'm sure I smelled freedom once in the backwood forests of your eyes. How you said, hide with me, or how else will we exodus, heading out of town. Their faces are up, but their eyes are down. There's a sun that seems to be shining upside down. And around and around, upside down, and around and around, upside down, and around and around, until we reach the outskirts of town, where we find time and time again that the great outdoors is a bar